Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I am so delighted you're here with me today because today we are going to be talking about obstacles that get in the way and prevent you from spiritual growth. We are all, especially if you're listening to my podcast, most likely on a spiritual journey, and most of us are going through what we might call enlightenment. But it can be very difficult sometimes, and we feel like we get stuck in this path, and we may feel like we become so enlightened and then we start progressing backwards, or we just feel like we can't move forwards. It's normal. And today I'm going to talk to you about what those obstacles usually are and how we can overcome them. But before we get started with today's episode, we do have a message from our sponsor. Wendy Charles McGuire is the host of the Second Wind podcast. She created this podcast to find answers to the question we as women seem to struggle with in the second half of life. She has amazing guests who share their stories about how they entered and embraced their second wind. She also gives you tools to help you discover your purpose in life. Second Wind offers its listeners solutions and tools to create the best life in the here and the now. Through conversations and stories, you will discover ways to make your life better in the here and now. Second Wind is available on many platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, and more. Check out Second Wind today. All right, so you are on a spiritual journey, and it probably has been wonderful and frustrating all at the same time. I know definitely I've had that experience. I've sometimes felt amazing. I remember there were times, when I went through the dark night of the soul, which is what I call the period of time where I started to awaken and think there has to be more to life than just this. That was pretty miserable. But then once I found a mentor and I started classes online and started learning new things, it was amazing. And everything was just, I felt so good. And then I got to another point in my life where I felt stuck. Like, okay, all of the stuff that I've been doing, it worked for a while and now it's not working again. What's happening? So it felt like a cycle. And if you're feeling that way too, it's normal. We all get that way. I think that there is actually a stage in the enlightenment process where we feel that way, where we feel like the spiritual stuff that we've been doing doesn't work anymore. And what I believe is really happening is that we're being asked to dig deeper and to go within and to really we have to be vulnerable and dig for all of those lessons we're still supposed to be learning and still shedding all of the things we still are supposed to shed. We sort of go at a surface level, and the universe is wanting us to go deeper. We have to dig even deeper, and that can be uncomfortable. And like I said, you have to be vulnerable, which most people don't like, but it is so super important. So what are some things that are possibly standing in your way on your spiritual path? What is causing you to feel stuck? So the first thing is, sometimes we get to a point where we think that we're not really worthy of being on a spiritual path. That sounds probably interesting to you, but most people want to aspire to be like the people that they admire, like Buddha or perhaps Muhammad or just different saints that we think of. We think, wow, they went out in the desert and they didn't eat and they achieved this enlightenment. So we try to compare ourselves to those figures, or we, even thinking that you need to be Christ-like, right? We set these high aspirations for ourselves, and we don't think it's possible for us to even come close to the morality or the character of these people. And to be honest, you do not have to spend decades wandering around in the desert or fasting all day long to be a spiritual person. I know that one of my mentors used to like to say that there are no rules. You don't have to pray a certain way or do things a certain way in order for it to work. But I know for me personally, I grew up in a religion where that was the case. You were supposed to do things a certain way. And I know a lot of people also grew up that way. You don't. have to follow these basic instructions in order to be spiritual. The spirituality is all about your relationship to the divine and your relationship with yourself. And really our relationship with everything around us. That's really what it's all about. But we put this expectation on ourselves that if I'm going to be spiritual, if I'm going to be on this spiritual path, I have to be perfect. I have to achieve the things that all of these other people achieved, and that's just not true. When you learn that you can trust your intuition, and when you learn that comparing yourself to anybody else has never been part of the plan, then you'll stop questioning whether or not you're worthy to be on a journey. Every single person on a journey looks different. We all have different journeys that we're taking. We don't need to compare ourselves to anybody else. You don't have to think that you have to do or be something that you're not. Really, the true idea of enlightenment is to be who you are. Most of us are so busy putting up air. We're putting on airs, right? We're trying to hide who we really are. We're trying to put on this facade to make it look like we know more, we have more, we do more. We're trying to be like everybody else. That's not the point of enlightenment. The point is to understand you're actually already perfect and already spiritual just the way you are. It's just learning how to love ourselves at each level where we are, not needing to compare ourselves to anybody else. Another barrier to spiritual growth is when we fail to apply what we're learning to our everyday lives. We always want to wait and practice until we're perfect with things, right? Some of us that's one of our traits that we're trying to work on healing, is that need to be perfect, that perfectionism. And so what we try to do is tell ourselves that we can't do something until we're perfect at it. So there are many people out there who are not moving forward. Some of you are healers, and some of you are also tarot readers, or you have your own gifts and you're not using them, or you're not using them in the way maybe that you want to because you think you have to be perfect to put yourself out there. And I'm here to tell you that you do not. If you go back and listen to the first few episodes of the podcast that I did, you would probably laugh or say, oh my gosh, you sound so different. I didn't know what I was doing and I wasn't perfect. I just knew that I had to get out there and I had to start doing it. But one of the ways that keeps us stuck is when we don't apply what we're learning, when we learn these wonderful and awesome things and just hold on to them. We're supposed to be the light and spreading the light to others. And there's another part where we can be very vulnerable, because I remember when I first started going through my spiritual awakening, no one around me was going through one or understood what I was going through. At least I didn't think so. No one in my family, in my close family, understood or knew what I was talking about. So whenever I would talk to them, they would just look at me like I had a weird thing on my head, or like, what is she saying? What is she talking about? I don't understand. She's kind of weird. That was the look that I would get. But the more that I started talking about it, the more I would run into people who knew exactly what I was going through and who had gone through the same things, people that I would never have imagined. And then we would have these long conversations, and I would say, I never thought that you would be into spirituality, or that you had a spiritual awakening, or that you also had a mentor, and it was incredible. But the universe does tend to align us with our tribe, but we cannot find our tribe if we stay hidden. You know what I mean? We have to get comfortable enough and vulnerable enough to speak our truth. And for many of us, that is scary. And we don't want to do it. And I get it. I really do. Because having a podcast and writing a book and being a teacher, those are all things I thought, these don't work together. Like if I am a teacher, I can't I don't want people to find this podcast because what if they start judging me or they read my book? And I had to get so comfortable with the fact that I know I have to be authentic and I know I have to speak my truth, that I had to be okay with whatever anybody else thought about me. Again, it's a very difficult thing because you are being open and honest. And again, part of our spiritual growth is learning how to be authentic, learning how to own our truth. If you cannot be real with yourself and honest with yourself, you're going to feel stuck. Growth is all about being who we are and not being afraid to be who we are and to show who we are. It's also about knowing that when you do the work, you're going to have to keep doing the work. It doesn't just end. And I think that one block to spirituality and spiritual enlightenment is that some people get fatigued. It's like, here we go again. Here's another lesson. Oh, I thought I went through this. And I understand that as well because I have experienced that myself. I've experienced times where I think, why do you keep doing this? Why do I have to keep going through this when I feel like I've learned my lesson, another one comes along? And the reason for that is because it's like layers of an onion. Our wounds, our stories, they run deep, really deep. So we are uncovering layer after layer. And it can become tiresome to have to keep healing things over and over again. But it will get easier. It will. And you can call in your spiritual team to say, hey, look, I need help with this. I think I've learned it. This is too much, whatever. Be honest. Because growth is not easy. It is definitely not easy. The problem is we feel like we've done it all. We've had all the tools. We've seen it all. But I can tell you in doing this podcast, I will have a guest every once in a while who talks to me about something I've never heard of. And I will think that, I've heard of everything in spirituality. And then along comes someone and I think, how have I never heard of that? There's so much to uncover. And what we know is so small and insignificant compared to what is out there. You just have to look for it or ask the universe to bring it to you. We're always seeking and finding tools and ways to make our lives better. Spirituality is all about learning. And when we don't continuously learn, it's like teaching. You know, a lot of teachers joke, well, I'm as professionally developed as I ever hope to be because we always have to go through professional development every year. We have to go through it regardless of how many years you've taught. Everyone has to go through it and you have to go through it several times a year. The point is to make you a better teacher, right? And if you go every year saying and with the attitude of, I've already done all of this, I know everything, then you've missed the point. There's always room for growth. There's always room for learning. You haven't already done it. You don't already understand it all. There is still much to learn. But becoming fatigued and saying, I have to keep doing this again, I have more to learn. We have to get out of that attitude of, I already know everything. There's nothing left to do. I've done it all. Because that is not true. There's so much more to learn and we just have to be open and willing to learn it. When we close ourselves off, that's when we begin to feel stuck. When you feel like I've done it all, there's nothing left. I feel that way sometimes in teaching too. If I do the same thing over and over again, I'm going to feel stuck. I'm going to feel bored. I'm going to feel like what I do doesn't matter. That's when I have to dig deeper and go within and say, what else can I do? What else can I learn? How else can I approach this? So always approaching things from an open mind and asking yourself essential questions too. That was what started my spiritual enlightenment journey was, what's the meaning of this? Why are we here? What is this all about? ask yourself those questions again. Continue asking the questions, because those are the things that are going to make you dig deeper, search for those answers. It's really all about the journey. How did we get here? How do we move forward? Where are we going? Approach life with a curiosity and have an open mind for what comes to you and for what's going to come next to you. We have no idea what's around the corner. And amazing and wonderful things can happen, but you have to be open to it. We can't have the attitude of I've done everything. We can't have the attitude of I have to be a certain way and I'm not worthy of this. And one of the most important things to work on is your intuition. Many of us, we ignore it, or we feel like we don't have it, and we feel like we have to rely on other people in order to figure out what we're supposed to be doing. You were given the gift of knowing what you were supposed to do. It's just that most of us ignore it, or we don't know how to tap into it. So continue working on that intuition and building your intuition. You can do third eye opening meditations. You can do journaling. The free writing, I think, is one of the best ways to practice intuition, because when you stop and you take a breath and you set the intention that you want to get guidance and you just listen for what shows up or what comes. Some people hear it, some people just think it just pops into their head, and some people see images. We're all different, but you are all given the ability to be able to get wisdom from your own higher self. So it's all about tapping into that. So finding maybe new ways, new tools to help you move through this journey, because it can feel like the longest journey ever when you get to a place where you feel stuck. But don't quit. Don't give up. Most people want to quit and give up before their miracles happen, and they're just around the corner. You can get through all of these things that are keeping you stuck, again, by being open, sitting in silence, and listening to your heart's desires. Ignoring the negativity, or at least learning how to flip that script. You have to be patient. We're all so impatient. We want everything to happen yesterday. And part of why some people feel stuck on a spiritual journey is because they haven't seen things happen immediately. They're not seeing the things they want to manifest. Or again, they keep seeing these lessons coming back at them. You have to understand that things take time to manifest, and the lessons sometimes take time to learn and time to uncover. We don't even always know what our spiritual lessons are right away. So you have to be patient with the process. And stop operating from the system of thinking that everything has to be right or wrong, or everything is an absolute truth. There's not always a right or wrong way. And a lot of friction and suffering that happens in our lives is because we feel like there has to be one way that's right. There isn't just one way. Also, being unable to see the bigger picture in life, letting things bog you down, that really keeps us stuck and it makes us feel like we're helpless. We can easily fall into that victim mindset, which is one of the worst things we can do. We're not a victim of our circumstances. Those circumstances were created in order to teach us something. We need to learn the lessons, but we also need to be able to let go of the past hurts and the mistakes that we've made, because another part of keeping us stuck is when we can't forgive ourselves and when we can't show ourselves compassion. I go back to that, what I said earlier, is when we understand that we're perfect the way we are, and you will say, no, we have flaws, we all have flaws. No, we're perfect the way we are. We are supposed to be this way, and we're supposed to be learning. When you look at it from that point of view, it doesn't mean we go out and hurt everybody and we don't care. It just means we have compassion for ourselves and we understand that this is a process and we're learning. So I encourage you to continue on your spiritual path. And if you feel like you're getting stuck, go back and ask yourself those questions. Why am I feeling stuck? What's happening? Is there a lesson I'm still not learning that I need to get through? And what might that be? And how can I learn this lesson faster? We really have to know, because we're all dealing with different things. Your lessons are different from my lessons. We have to understand ourselves and how we're learning and growing. And don't give up. It can be challenging, but it is so worth it when you finally start learning those lessons and all of those blessings start pouring into you because you put all of this work and effort into it. And that's really what it's all about. All right, so I wanted to pull a few cards for you today, and I pulled 3 cards from the Divine Whispers deck, which is the deck that I created. And if you would like this deck, you can purchase it on my website, melissaoatman.com, on the offerings page. The first card is Feeling Lost or Stuck, and I swear to you, I shuffled these. This is what came out. You cannot make this stuff up. The universe is always, always, always showing me synchronicities. So it says, lately, it seems like you have been feeling lost or stuck in a situation. It seems like nothing is improving. The universe wants you to know that your prayers have been heard and work is being done behind the scenes on your behalf. You simply need to let go of control and attachment to any particular outcome. The universe is guiding your steps now. Simply ask for direction and then watch for the signs as they come. Take a deep breath, my love. You are being taken care of. Believe that. Feel the relief that comes from knowing that it is okay not to have all of the answers just yet. Just know that things are working out in divine timing for you. There are a few mantras that go with this card. The first one is, at the end of the day, my heart is at peace. I know that I am being taken care of. The universe is working behind the scenes on my behalf. I'm not stuck. I've just been stuck in patterns of behavior that don't serve me. I have the power to release myself at any time simply by remembering who I am. You're perfect. Remember that. You're perfect. You're worthy and you are deeply loved. All right, the next card that I picked is Rest Your Weary Head. You are busy. You are constantly going in every direction right now. The universe wants you to slow down, relax, and take some time for yourself. It's so important to get a good night's sleep every evening. Your body is a miraculous and amazing vessel that needs time to recharge. Be sure to set some time aside before you go to bed to unwind. Do a quick meditation, take a hot bath, read a little out of a good book. Do something to release from the day's tension before your head hits the pillow. Be sure to thank the universe for all of the amazing things that happen during the day, like having a pillow to rest your head on. Remember that there are people who only dream about being where you are. And there's a prayer that goes with this card. It's Creator of all that is. I want to thank you for the awesome blessings that flowed into my life today. I can't wait to see what tomorrow has in store for me. Thank you for the rest that is allowing my body to recharge, rejuvenate, and restore my energy. I know I am going to have beautiful dreams tonight. I love that. And the last card, because 3 came out, is Rise with Gratitude. But I love this because this, for me, is one of the things when I feel stuck, when I feel like I'm in a mood or I'm in a place where I just can't seem to turn it around, gratitude every time does it. This is just as the sun rises each day, so must you rise with gratitude. Just as you depend upon the sun for warmth and light, the best way to shine your light is by expressing gratitude. Either everything is a miracle or nothing is. I choose to see every experience as a miracle today. Before your feet hit the floor each morning, tell the universe thank you for at least 5 things in your life today. You are deeply and richly blessed. And the daily mantra for this card is, I am thankful for my eyes that see the good in every situation. I am thankful for my heart that loves deeply and unconditionally. I am thankful for the breath within me that sustains me. I am thankful for the gifts that you have bestowed upon me. I thank you for each new day that is filled with your blessings. All right, I love that. And I hope that you are seeing lots of blessings in your life and that you are able to feel gratitude for all of it. Keep going. You've got this. It's not always an easy journey, but the fact that you are on it and are going through all of this right now says so much about your strength and all of the things that you're doing. And your light is so needed and so important in this world. I hope that you guys have a beautiful day today from wherever you're listening. If you want to work with me, you can go to my website, melissaoatman.com. From my website, you can buy my book. You can purchase a reading with me. You can purchase a healing session with me. Or you can also purchase coaching with me if you're feeling stuck in your life and you want me to help you move forward. I would love to work with you. Simply go to melissaoatman.com. On the offerings page, you can purchase anything. And then if it is a session, you can contact me through either email, text, or even social media to book your session. I am sending you guys so much love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.